how to use Elementor plugin for WordPress. The latest 2025 version will be shown in this tutorial. Elementor plugin is a free plugin for WordPress. Although they have the Pro version, the free version will allow you to create almost any web page design that you can imagine. And Elementor plugin is a very popular page builder. So how do we use it? How do we work around it? First, if you've never used Elementor plugin before, then this is the video tutorial, because within it I'm going to show you the best parts of it as to how you're meant to use this plugin. Let's imagine you want to create a page or a product or a post, and let's say you want to add a new page. Then you can do something like this. Let's say test 3, save as draft to begin with, so it's not published. Then we can press edit with Elementor. Do keep in mind, when you edit things with Elementor, it's actually very different to WordPress editor. So, as we can see, when we create something from blank, well, in this example I've got a header here, I'll show you how to edit that in a second. But here, the latest version of Elementor has given us build with AI. Yeah, AI is becoming more popular, but if you're operating a business website, I strongly encourage you to not use AI to build your website, as in the content of it. But the latest version of Elementor gives you this AI business here. You can connect your website with Elementor account. In fact, while we're here, to use certain template libraries, you may need to connect your website to Elementor site. Okay, so keep that in mind. So now let's continue. Let's say, no, I don't want to use the AI business. Here, let's just press on this plus icon. You can see we're designing our layer because it's a page builder. Let's select this one. And let's say, okay, I want this one. You can see it's full width looking here, right? We can do something like this. We've just created a container. Here in this modal window, which will be very helpful for you to understand what's going on here, you can see that container is currently empty. So now we can press on the plus icon to say, I want to add something to that container. Let's say heading in this example. And we can see it here. We can edit that by pressing the pencil icon, or we can actually press on the structure and actually delete it if we want. Let's say, you know what, I want to add an image. On the left hand side is your widgets. The free version gives you very powerful widgets for you to use anyway. So now let's say, okay, I want to put some image. Let's just drag and drop. And let's say I want that image to be medium size. I can add captions if I want, or link to a media file or custom URL. But that looks blank. So now we can press on the image and select an image from our media library. Where's the media library? It's in our WordPress media library. So now you can see that rather looks too big, even though resolution I've selected was that. So let's go back and say, okay, let's grab this one to see what happens. Now, let's delete that image if we want, and let's add another one. Let's add that one again. Here we can style the image, as we can see. You can say, okay, that was too big of an image. Let me go to 60%. The width could be, let's say, this much, and so on. So your left-hand side menu is for content and also styling. Now, that container has an image, right? But let's do something like this. Let's press on the container and add an element. This plus icon, the latest Elementor gives us this option. We can say, you know what, I want to add some text, which will definitely be helpful. Then we have an editor here. We can see that some text, let's say we want to add some link to it. Let's just say https example.com. And voila, that's an image. We can press on the text and see the unformatted version. But let's continue. Now, the advanced feature is to do with, placing IDs, classes. And here you can see there's a desktop view. I can select a mobile portrait to see, how would that look on a mobile device? Or go back to desktop. So now we can see that this plugin is very powerful. On the top, we can also do that, as in look at different resolutions, so that when we're designing what we're designing, it is within the right proportions. So now let's say, okay, let's add another one. But this time let's add a grid element. Let's select 3. Here, let's just add a little text, or let's add an icon list. As you can see, the power of this plugin, and simply change what we need. We can change the icons for the list elements straightforward. Select another list, say, okay, how about this one? Let's grab thumbs up, paste it in there, and so on. How about this one? But what if I want to copy this into this? On the right hand side, I can press on the element and say, you know what, just copy that. Duplicate that. And you can see the power of this plugin. Quick and easy once you know how to work around it. Now, let's do something like this. Let's say, okay, we know how to add grids, the layout containers. We know how to, let's say, add widgets from the left-hand side. And depending on how you installed Elementor, you may have different options. JupyterX comes prepackaged with different things here. So now let's say, okay, social icons will definitely be helpful. We can quickly and easily modify that. So, okay, how about here? Let's add a heading. Let's say, follow us. Now let's do something like this. Let's put that up. Grab and hold and put it up to see what happens. You can do that with anything. We can say, okay, I want to put that up there. We can close as in minimize. Now let's look at the folder box here. Let's press on it. These are your blocks. As we can see, we have pre-built Jupyter theme elements here. But you can press on my templates here. Your templates come from the Elementor templates section. But let's go back to blocks. Here we have categories. Let's say you want to create About Us page. Now, you may not be using Jupyter theme, correct? So, If that's the case, I'll show you how to work around pre-built default Elementor kits in a second. But let's say you're seeing something here for your setup, then you can actually press on Insert. That's a block of WordPress. Watch what happens when we do this, because these are our templates that we can use quickly and easily. And voila, we've got a section here. In this scenario, if I press on these dots here, I can say, okay, show me the style, the layout, the width of it. As we can see, it's a bit contained. It's boxed, but full width. We can preview changes anytime we're modifying. Say, okay, how would that look? And unless you're 100% done, that's when you publish. Now, what else can I show you? I'll show you how to make that full width. Okay. Now you can see, as you start playing around with this Elementor plugin, you will see its power, because you can do basically anything that you want. Also, as you're creating your page layout and you want to use certain things throughout different parts of your website, then what you can do is press on any container or anything from the structure menu, right click and say save as template. Give it a name, sample template. As an example, you can give the name anything that you want. Now, that's available for you to preview that container and use it anytime you create, let's say, different pages. Let's say I want to create a different section or page. Say, okay, I want to grab that sample template and insert it. Insert, and voila, couple of clicks, you can continue using the layout that you've created. Then we've got some menu options here. Got page settings. Okay, so that's to do with WordPress. So basically, this is how you use Elementor plugin to create the pages that will work for your setup. Now, what's important, obviously, to make the best of this plugin is we end up using the templates. As we can see, we've got our saved templates. We can add a new template, select what we want, create a template so we can use it throughout our website. So templates will definitely be helpful. But let's say in this example, I'll reverse engineer this header business here. Let's add it with Elementor to see what's happening here. You can see that header, which almost all WordPress sites have. We can see content width is the layout, is full width. But let's say I want to have that boxed. You can now see. We can style anything that we want as we're creating it. Okay, so that's the power of the Elementor plugin. Because imagine having a different, imagine having to code this or build it on every page of your site. But with this Elementor, you can easily do that. Now, because I work on many WordPress sites, Elementor usually comes with premium themes, correct? If that's the case, within your premium theme, you may be able to design your layouts as well. Jupyter X theme comes pre-packaged with all this stuff. It's just a matter of modifying, as in editing the template to suit your needs. Here, that's coming from customizer. What does that mean? That means WordPress has a customizer, so you can customize your WordPress site. So that full width business came from here. Let's say template parts, header. It's custom and we're using our template. Or we could easily create one from here. So I don't want to complicate your learning the Elementor, but because most WordPress sites do use premium themes, it's smart for us to double check the customizer that may influence how your website looks using Elementor plugin. In fact, 99% of WordPress sites using Elementor will need to customize their WordPress site from customizer. Anytime you're on a landing page that's using Elementor template, you can see it from the top bar here, and you can actually edit it directly. Let's imagine we want to edit the footer. Then we can press edit and edit the footer here. Then we have globals. You can create global widget. I won't confuse you, but just think of them as templates. Yeah. In my example, we've got floating elements. You can create floating elements. For this to work, do keep in mind that you may actually need to connect to Elementor website. Because sometimes you may get errors saying, well, that's not working. The reason for that is because of the connection. Then we've got a kit library. Here you'll definitely use this when you're creating a page layout, because okay, why is that not showing? Okay, now it's showing. You can see without even editing things from here, you may say, you know what, I don't want to edit things. I just want to see the wireframe that I can easily use and just modify it. But even then, you still need to understand what I've just shared thus far. And then let's imagine you like this wireframe or different template. Then simply apply the kit. Kit is your template. It's like a kit for the about page, contact page. Let me finalize this tutorial by just showing you the Elementor options here. Most of these settings and so on, you actually will not need to use it. But nonetheless, they are there available depending on your WordPress setup. You can integrate APIs or reCAPTCHA keys. Advanced, you can perhaps enable, disable Google Fonts and so on. So you can read through what's happening here. Performance, they've got some things that they think it's going to help. Page load times. Surely, the default settings are usually good enough. Then we have experimental features. I won't even touch that. Jupyter X theme is powerful because it works great with Elementor plugin. You can easily insert reCAPTCHA keys and so on. Then we have Role Manager. For most WordPress sites, you actually won't need to use this. But let's imagine you have an e-commerce site and you're allowing other users to log into your WordPress site. Then you can control the access that you grant to them using Role Manager. As I've said, if you're a one-man show or an entrepreneur, a small business owner, e-commerce owner taking care of your own site, you probably don't need to touch this. Then we have Element Manager. Here, depending on how you installed Elementor plugin, you may see different things here. Leaving this default is smart because then you have access to all those widgets that we had before. They come from As we can see, all these things here, that is the elements we have. So if we disable this, then we won't have access to them when we create the page. Okay, let's leave them out. Then we have tools. You will 100% need to use this. Latest 2025 version of Elementor has included maintenance mode, which is actually good. It's a great addition. Then we have import and export kit. Once you finalize your design and created your templates, installed your WordPress plugins, then you can export your entire website, its content, site settings as a backup kit. Create the kit, download it locally. Now you've got a backup of all your hard work. Then we have the system info. I won't touch that because you don't really need to look at that. As we can see, these are your templates. These are very important. And Elementor actually works with a shortcode. What does that mean? That means if I grab that shortcode, let's say create a blog post or a page or a product, and I want to have that, I can place that shortcode, preview, and then I have that there, you see. That's the shortcode. You won't usually need it, but it's there available. Before I close up, I actually need to show you this so that you understand how it works. Let's say your site settings. Your customizer will show you your site settings, correct? Here, these are all the settings for your e-commerce site or a local business website. You can enable, disable things from here. So these are your global settings. Actually, if I press on version control, because WordPress gets updated a lot, and so does Elementor plugin, version control may be ideal. If you update Elementor plugin and something goes wrong with your website, then you can revert back to previous version that was working. Let's add a new page. Let's add it with Elementor. Because with WordPress, you can set things as in site settings globally. Let's say your global colors. You can say, okay, my brand uses this color set, or this. For text, let's go a little bit more darker so it's more readable. Okay, so that's your global colors. Then you can go back, save changes. Global fonts, you can set global fonts here. These are global site settings. Typography, sizes, site identity, which comes from the customizer. Background or layout, the width of it. That's why when we created the container, it stayed within that pixel. Okay, so that's how you want to perhaps change the size of certain layouts. At the end of the day, Elementor WordPress plugin is absolutely powerful once you learn all the settings. At the beginning, when you want to learn it, simply experiment with it. As I've shown to you, create some containers, duplicate them, delete some of them, move them around left, right, save them as template, go back in your template library, edit certain templates or create new ones, because that's the best way to master the power of Elementor plugin. I thank you for learning with Rankia, and I'll talk with you in the next video session.